Good morning, Wind Chasers. Welcome to another episode of Chasing the Wind. I am Pastor Mark, and we are having a good time down here at our recordings. And so I want to talk to you today about, have you ever been stalled out? I had a little situation here a couple winters ago where my snowblower just stopped at the end of my very long driveway. And it was the first path through, so I had to pull it backwards all the way and yada, yada, yada. And long story short, I get it all taken care of by a guy who knows how to take care of little engines like that, because this little engine can't take care of other little engines, or he doesn't know how, or he just don't care. I'm not sure. Anyway, he got it going. He says, hey, you got to use real gas, not the whatever gas it is. I says, I do use real gas. He goes, well, somehow your carburetor got gummed up and it stalled you out. And so I went, this was served as a metaphor, as Dennis Bratcher says it. It was one of my professors in seminary, a metaphor. You and I would know it as a metaphor. And so this serves as a metaphor as I went to my counselor and I said, hey, I just need to kind of talk this through a little bit. And we talked about the ideas. I was feeling stalled myself. And there's several reasons you can get stalled, but in this particular reason, it was because the carburetor got gummed up. Your carburetor will get gummed up. I probably shared that story with you before, but if I did, you can tell me if I'm telling it right. And sometimes, our carburetors get gummed up. We get stuck. We get kind of bored with life and everything just goes in the same pattern. And what we have to do, and this has been something that through the last couple of years of this pandemic, is many of us have had to change the way we do things. And that can be really, really hard for me. I'm one of these people, I don't mind change. Change doesn't bother me. I like change. I have a lot of people around me who don't, though. And so we have to work through that. But I was thinking about, I heard something this week that just really spoke to me about this kind of thing. Is life, John Maxwell said, growth is optional, change is inevitable. I can't stop some change in my life. There's more gray hair up on top than there used to be. And I'm okay with that, but I can't change that from happening. I can color it if I want to, which is cheaper than a sports car, I guess. But I'm not gonna do that because there's other things I want besides a sports car or non-gray hair. So, but there are things that we sometimes there's some things that we're just not going to change. We got to find other ways of doing it. I remember several years ago, my father-in-law was lamenting that he couldn't mow the lawn like he used to. And I said, well, let's just go get you a riding lawnmower. And so we went and got him a little riding lawnmower, and he mowed and he hauled things around with that little thing. It was amazing. He had to find a different way of doing it. Folks, sometimes doing the things the way we've always done them doesn't work. It's the definition of insanity, is keep doing the same things over again, expecting a different result. Okay, another story John Maxwell talked about as a young pastor came to him and said, oh, John, I knocked on 200 doors. And John says, oh, great. How many people came to church? He goes, none. John goes, what are you going to do? He goes, I'm going to go knock on 200 more doors. And John's like, no, it didn't work. The 200, don't do it again. Figure out a different way of working and doing something. And so life will throw that at you, where we have to learn to do things differently. There's some fishing stories in the Gospels. As a matter of fact, this morning down here where we do our recordings, we were fishing for the fishing stories because we were trying to get the one that I was looking for. It's like this. We're a week and a half out from Easter, after Easter, and Jesus, literally here, by the way, it's the end of April, and. But it is that way here, too, for what we're looking at with Jesus and his disciples. They have watched Jesus be crucified. They have seen the empty tomb. They're not sure what to do. Peter says, well, I'm going to do the only thing I know to do that I really enjoy, and I'm going to go fishing. And he goes fishing. and he's out fishing and he doesn't catch anything. John 21, afterward, Jesus appeared again to his disciples at the Sea of Tiberias. It happened this way. Simon Peter, Thomas, called Didymus, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, and 2 other disciples were together. I'm going out to fish, Simon Peter told them, and they said, we'll go with you. So they went out and got into the boat, and that night they caught nothing. Early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. He called out to them, friends, haven't you any fish? No, they answered. He said, throw your net on the right side of the boat and you will find some. When they did, they were unable to haul the net because of the large number of fish. And the disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, it is the Lord! And as soon as Simon Peter heard him say it is the Lord, he wrapped his outer garment around him, and for he had taken it off, and jumped into the water. And the other disciples followed in the boat, towing the net full of fish, for they were not far from the shore, about 100 yards. And when they landed, they saw a fire burning with coals and the fish on it. Now, we could also go to another story, I think is in Luke 4, I believe it is, where they caught a miraculous catch of fish, and it was such a catch of fish that the boat started getting swamped. And Jesus told them, let down your nets. We fished all night. It didn't work, but okay, if you say so. And they caught a large catch of fish. Here's the thing, folks. Sometimes we have to swing the bat one more time. We have to let the nets down, especially when Jesus says, I love the story of the walls of Jericho coming down with the Israelites when they marched around Jericho. They march around every day. They march around 7 days. And they're like, man, I'm not marching around this one more day. Not again. I'm not going to march around this one more day. God says, march around it one more day. They march around it one more day. But goes, this time you're going to blow your horn. You're going to do it different. You're going to adjust the plan just a tad. And you're going to do something different. They march around, they blow the horns, and the walls come down. You never know what day you're on, folks. Don't give up too soon. You might be closer than you think to a victory. And sometimes we miss the victory because we do shut down too early, but also because we keep doing things the way we've always done them. We keep fishing the way we always fished. I'm guessing since Jesus said throw it on the right side of the net, that tells me they were, or of the boat rather, that tells me they were probably throwing the net on the other side. Well, it's just a deduction on my part. It isn't in there in Scripture, but I'm kind of guessing that's probably because throw it on the right side. Implication, well, you've been fishing on the left side, which is really kind of funny, isn't it? What's the difference between what's on the right side and on the left side? Because that's just water. The fish, do you think they say, oh, here's the middle of the boat. Don't go over there. That's dangerous. No. Sometimes Jesus says you need to make a little adjustment here. It reminds me of a story my friend told me when I was a kid. His grandfather had a metal bucket, and he had dropped the bucket on an electric fence that was around his garden to keep the rabbits out. And every time he went down to pick up the bucket to move it away, he kept getting zipped by the electric fence because it was going through the metal bucket. And he kept getting upset because after, he kept trying to grab this metal bucket, hoping he could get it and, get it off there before it did anything. He finally kicked it, I think it was, and he, got it away from it so he could pick up the bucket. But we do that, don't we? We can laugh about that, but we do it all the time. We do the same things over and over again. We get in our routines, and then we wonder why, we get stagnant sometimes. And God says, hey, let me stir things up here. Sometimes maybe I wonder if that's why he lets things happen. One of my favorite stories, I think I've told you this, Wind Chasers. I think it was Jonathan and his armor bearer. They see some Philistines up on this hill, and Jonathan says to his armor bearer, he goes, come on, let's go pick a fight with those uncircumcised fellows. Maybe the Lord will deliver them into our hand. Maybe? That's what you're going on, is maybe? Yeah. If God's in it, maybe is enough. Maybe is enough. Boy, preach on, preacher. That's good preaching. Thanks, don't mind if I do. Folks, sometimes we got to throw the net on the other side. We got to try something different. I had a district superintendent, Alan Dace. He's going to be with the Lord now. Alan Dace used to say to me, Mark, try something. I was a young pastor. Mark, try something. If it doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. You see, the message will always stay the same, but the methods, they have to change because we're in different. I'm doing this. This is something I would have never dreamed of doing, being a televangelist. Well, not a televangelist, but you know what I mean. COVID made every pastor a televangelist, or most of them anyway. So here's the thing, folks, is we got to find, you might feel a little stalled or stuck. Here's the thing, you need to figure out what's got you stalled and stuck, what's got your carburetor, from a spiritual, a little metaphor there for you, your carburetor's gummed up. You need to have it cleaned out. It's not the end of the world. You ain't going to throw it out, okay? Let's clean up your carburetor. Let's figure out what's keeping you stuck and say, okay, maybe I need to try something different here. Maybe I need to try something different. So wind chasers, I want you to just kind of think about that. Maybe you need to make some adjustments here, change some things. So until next time, I'm Pastor Mark. Keep chasing the wind because the wind is chasing you. Grace and peace.